Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I learned a pretty interesting thing recently. Turns out, vitamin deficiencies are actually incredibly rare. So much so that when a case shows up of scurvy or anything like that, doctors come from miles around just because they've never seen one before. But you look in your average house's medicine cabinet, and you're going to see your D's, your C's, and omegas, B100s, all this sort of stuff. Now, why is it people are buying products that our bodies already have so much of? Well, first of all, let's look at the food that we eat. I think it was about 100 years ago when they first started to realize the importance of vitamins that they started fortifying our food. You'll notice that your bread is not bread, it's enriched white bread, for those of us that don't eat whole wheat. Almost everything you have has added vitamins to it, precisely because the government realized, you know what, it makes no sense for us to not get people to take some vitamin D, and it saves so much money. So our bodies are actually awash in vitamin C and all the essentials. And it's a curious thing because while it's listed on the label of most food products, you have to be one of those psychos like me who actually reads labels to notice it. And vitamins and minerals do have a valid place in the diet. I'm not going to say that you don't do better with vitamin C. I'm not going to say that your individual body chemistry is not benefited by some omega fatty fish oils, because everybody's body chemistry is slightly different. I acknowledge that. Where things get sketchy, when we get into the world of the unusual, is more in front of you. Again, vitamin E, very important for blood. Chances are you already have a pretty good amount of it if you eat meat. Even if you're a vegetarian, there's a ton of sources of vitamin E. But people are so desperate for a quick fix these days. I mean, unless you're a superstar athlete in their prime, nobody feels perfect 100% of the time. Everybody thinks they could look better, they could feel better, they could do better. And this is where companies start to get in and get their hooks into us. The marketing swings into effect. You'll notice in front of me a couple interesting bottles. This CBD oil. Perfectly legal where I live. The real stuff is legal too, but I'm not showing you whether I have any or not. Don't know how the YouTube algorithm works, but yeah. CBD oil. It's been on commercials across the world at the present time. It's the new best thing. Well, I'll be honest, I do take it, and I have some minor aches and pains, and it seems to make them more manageable. I've done the research. The stuff that I buy, if you'll notice, is clearly labeled. It's actually by prescription. It's relatively expensive, but at least I know what it is. And this is why I want to bring up our friend Box Rescue Remedies. The camera's not going to focus on that, is it? Oh, there we go, I think. This stuff is designed to make you calmer. And the theory is that they're going to do an infusion. Now, an infusion is a specific word. Basically means make a tea, although not necessarily with heat. And that infusion is of certain flowers, because it's Bach's Flower Remedies. Not the same as the composer. Bach is spelled a little bit differently. But it's these flowers mixed together with brandy. That's right. So basically, when you decide, oh, I feel a little bit uneasy or stuff, you're treated to a nice little drop of brandy there. So This is a little bit snake oil, but the same token, it works. Brandy has long been the gentleman's way to relax, and here they found a way to package it in a way that they can sell it in a supermarket and you can buy it. Now, I've never tried to abuse this particular remedy to the point where I'd be intoxicated, but its medicinal benefits speak for itself. Brandy, of course, somebody was feeling off, have a drop of brandy, and that would be their way of not only being social, but also trying to help you out. That probably went away in the 60s. A lot of things went away in the 60s. But this is the slippery slope. While it's difficult to overdose on vitamin E, vitamin C, B100, omega, it's really hard to do that, which is why it's allowed to be sold in the form that it is. This, again, is brandy. It's expensive brandy because it has all the flowers and stuff mixed into it. But you would be hard pressed to get any sort of a buzz off it, but it would be possible. And for people with certain conditions, that would be a very bad thing to take. Certain medications react badly with alcohol, and certain people just simply are not allowed to have it, whether for religious, moral, or any other scruples. The slippery slope starts from there. We get all sorts of claims. There's this trend going on at the present time called high meat, where you leave meat in a container for like a month. And I'm not talking a sterile container, I mean just let it out to rot. And the difference between high meat and aged meat is the fact that aging takes place in a pretty controlled environment with precise humidity, with everything taken care of so you don't get all the weird stuff in there. Whereas high meat is just you sticking meat, letting it rot with God knows what bacteria getting into it, and then you eat it, and if you're lucky, you get the right mix of microorganisms and you get a high. And if you're wrong, you get botulism or something like that, and you die. There's another health trend going around with aged urine. Yes, you take your own urine, you leave it out for a couple of weeks, and then you rub it on your eyes and your skin and your hair, and supposedly it gives you, nicer looking hair. Well, a little bit of science, a little bit of biology here. Your body uses your excreta system to get rid of stuff it doesn't want in it. So by you applying it to your skin, which is the largest organ in your body now has to consume more water to get rid of it by excreting it again. And these are the types of remedies that it's so hard to draw the line for. Again, I'm willing to have box rescue remedy available anywhere because it does work. It will give you a little bit of a calm sensation. And like I said, there is data behind it. A little bit of brandy works. Whereas aged urine, okay, somebody has trotted out some pseudoscience or a doctor of, plant physics or whatever the heck it is to say, plant physiology to say that such and such may be good and has included it in their workings, and then got a little bit of media buzz by doing something and then claiming that's responsible. The problem with these remedies, as we will call them, and I hate to use the word remedy because it does falsely incriminate my little friend over here, is that they do not have real scientific evidence for them. And if they do, it's like the institute designed and built by the founder of the company. Because it's very easy to start an institution. And always be sure to Google any results and look for real scientific data. Don't look for the personal testimonials because there is still the placebo effect. Some people think this can solve all their problems, or this, or this, or this, or that. Any of these can solve all their problems, and most of the time it doesn't. Like I said, it's not going to kill you to have it, and it can have a beneficial effect on your body to have an overabundance in your system. But it honestly makes me wonder about the coming economy in the 21st century. I mean, opportunities are becoming harder to get, but These remedies are all over the place. You go on any website and all of a sudden it's promising you, you can lose 15 pounds in a week and, do no exercise, eat what you want. All you have to do is know this secret. And the two things you're going to get out of that is either a video that goes on for 30 minutes and doesn't tell you anything other than to buy their book, or they're going to promise you some snake oil like I've been talking about. The scary part is, the really scary part is, let's make up something that I think is false. Okay, cat pee. I'm going to bottle cat pee and come up with some sort of exotic name for it, like Felinus excretus. Oh, Felinus excretus does all these wonderful things, and then you include the disclaimer, this product has not been evaluated by the FDA or whatever your local situation is, and then you can pretty much get away with selling anything. The worst part is, if I did go ahead with my Felis excretus, cat pee, within a month, I guarantee some other company would be selling their own cat pee at a cheaper price and claiming that theirs is pure and more distilled or came from better cats. There's actually this weird action-reaction economy going on in the less savory parts of the health industry. Because the B vitamin industry is absolutely criminal, is what I'm going to say. The way that one company is going to come out and say, okay, we're not just going to give you 1,000 milligrams, we'll give you a 3,000 milligram pill, and you take 5 a day and it'll solve all your problems. Yeah, it will. Eventually your body won't be able to cope with it and you'll pee it out. And this is what I see as a growth industry, not in a positive way. Like, this is the kind of growth that you want your doctor to look at and remove. If you catch the hint of what kind of growth I'm talking about. It's not an economic benefit. It causes more problems, but there's nothing we can really do about it. Because sadly, for every Felis excretus out there, you have legitimate companies that are selling something that does have value to a segment of the population. There are herbal remedies, tribal remedies for various cultures, for First Nations, for Indians, for Chinese, for all these people, and they want their supplement of whatever it is. I'm not really willing to block those, except in the case where they're like hacking a shark fin off or, putting an endangered species into their medicine chest. Okay, we can all agree that part is wrong. But where do we draw the line between glorified brandy, which you can take out and you can legitimately take, and nobody will be the wiser, and aged urine, which is just a bad idea. Not so long ago, there was a trend going around where jenkem was a thing, where people were putting their feces into a bag, letting it ferment, and inhaling it. And this was to get them high. They got a clear benefit from it, but at what cost? God knows what bacteria are in there. When I brew beer and when I've grown mushrooms in the past, one of the biggest things that you have to be worried about is cleanliness. Because when you get your beer and when you're growing your mushrooms, you want to make sure what you're getting is just your beer or your mushrooms. Anything else is going to spoil the batch and could potentially kill you. Mushrooms in particular are dangerous because mushrooms have this unique ability where they can transfer nutrients from one mushroom to another. So if a healthy mushroom is sitting next to an unhealthy mushroom, the unhealthy mushroom can share its toxins with the healthy mushroom. So while yes, it is true, mushrooms can grow on poop, and if you are a particularly good mycologist, you can say that is a mushroom that you can eat it and not have any bad effects. But it's much more effective to do it in a sterile environment. When you're doing things like aged urine therapy and other such nonsense, most people do not control for the cleanliness. And I'm not saying that their houses aren't clean and that they aren't trying to be clean, but people don't take that into consideration. That box factory, if I go there, I'm sure I'm going to find people with masks on and hairnets and, the full, the blue vest kind of deal. I don't know what those are called, smocks, scrubs, whatever they are. Anyway, the point is, major factories actually take time to make sure their product is at least pure. And some do-it-yourself remedies that you do in your home are okay, like applying oatmeal to your face. Okay, you can't screw that up. You make the oatmeal, you put it on your face, you are done. But this is just a reminder that there's a divide between stuff that's not going to kill you and stuff that you do on your own on the recommendation of Facebook science that's honestly really far out there. Yes, I understand. It's 2021. There's a lot of horrible things happening. People have some pretty bad diseases. Cancer has not gone away, and people will do anything to get it out of their system because it's not a fun disease at all. And that makes people desperate. So, but by having the unsavory part of the health establishment picking on people like that, people who are desperately overweight and really want to find an alternative are willing to do anything. And just telling them eat less does not do it. I mean, that would be like me telling somebody who's hyperventilating, breathe less. So they want to breathe less, but they can't at that particular time. They do need help, and we need to make sure that they get the right help. So remember, alternative medicine is okay, but make sure you do your research. There's no way I'm going to be able to focus on this, but see that little label? Probably not. Yeah, I can't make that come into focus. But read those little labels. Do research. And don't just take testimonials, because I can go out and fake 5 testimonials on anything I like right this second. You need to know what you're doing, and anything that sounds too good to be true probably is. If there was a great cancer curing remedy out there, people would be using it. And they're not. People are still dropping dead of cancer. If you're lucky, you get a couple years, maybe even a decade. If you're not lucky, you don't get very long at all. AIDS was a death sentence in the 1980s, and here we are in 2021, and with the right cocktail, it can be controlled. And yes, herbal remedies do help people. I'm not denying that. But we need to be careful about what we put in our bodies, because you only get one body. And like I said, this stuff is not going to kill you. Well, not without severe effort on your part. But some of the things people out there recommend, like aged urine, can kill you. So make sure you're not getting one of the ones that has severe health consequences. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And we hope you have a fantastic day.